हेलो एवरीवन। सो बच्चा पार्टी आज का हमारा टॉपिक है फ्रॉग. So say hi to this Rana tigrina. Okay, so what is Rana tigrina? It's a scientific name of the frog. So let's study about the anatomy and the morphology of the frog. And this topic is so interesting and very easy to understand as compared to the earthworm and the cockroaches. Okay, so frog is quite easy to understand. So let's start with it. So when you talk about the phylum, okay, the phylum Chordata. So when you talk about the frog, where is frog is located? Frog is located here. Okay, let me highlight for you. So frog is located here. So when we start from the above, first come the phylum Chordata. In phylum Chordata, the subphylum is vertebrata. Vertebrata means what? The spinal cord is present. Okay, the notochord is present. Then, in case of vertebrata, the another subclassification is granostomata. That means jaw is present. In case of that, we have another classification that is superclass tetrapoda. Okay, typically the four limbs. In that case, our frog is come into the picture in class amphibia. The amphibia is the one who can live on the land as well as in water, right? So frog has a such a modification in a body, it actually the amphibia. Okay, so we have done with the actually classification. So when you talk about the frog, frog is amphibia, come under the tetrapoda, come under the granastomata, come under the subphylum vertebrata, and come under the phylum chordata. So this is the classification we have done. Now, when we talk about the actual classification, the scientific name of the frog, then it comes under the kingdom Animalia, phylum chordata, then vertebrata, Granostomata, Tetrapoda, superclass is Tetrapoda, class Amphibia, order, we missed their order. Order is what? Anura. Then family, Ranidae. Family is what? Ranidae. This is very important to make sure you understand this Ranidae. Genus Rana and Tigrina. So what is the scientific name of the frog? It's Rana tigrina. Rana tigrina. Okay, this is a scientific name of the frog. So we have done with the classification. Let's move into deep. Let's have a deep dive into the morphology of the frog. When you talk about the frog can live both on the land and in a freshwater belong to the class amphibia. So see, that is live in a both. That's why it's called amphibia. So modification, जो frog के modification रहेंगे वैसे ही रहेंगे, right? Okay, so phylum Chordata में आता है हमने पढ़ा the most common species of the frog found in India is Rana tigrina. Can you see that this is a dark color from the ventral side and from below it is a pale color. So and we can see that some pigmentation is like that. Okay, so ये pigmentation है, नीचे वाली skin कैसी pale है, ऊपर वाला dark skin है. Okay, तो ये क्यों modification हुए? Let's study about that. Okay, the frog they do not have a constant body temperature. मतलब body temperature इनका constant नहीं है. Okay, that is their body temperature varies with the temperature of the environment. सो वाटर अगर वार्म रहेगा इनकी बॉडी भी वार्म होना स्टार्ट हो जाएगी, राइट? दे कांट कीप अ कांस्टेंट, दे आर कॉल्ड अ कोल्ड ब्लडेड और अ polkiothum. So these are the animal, or we can say the frog is a cold blooded. That means is not able to make the body temperature constantly. So according to the environment, however the environment is there, according to that the body temperature changes. You might have also noticed changes in the color of the frog while they are grasses and dry land. ड्राई लैंड में थोड़े कलर डिफरेंट रहते हैं एंड ग्रासेस में डिफरेंट रहेंगे. ग्रासेस में आपको ये वाले कलर दिखेंगे जैसे कि ग्रीन है. इन लैंड में ड्राई कलर ज्यादा रहेगा, राइट? क्यों? टू मेक श्योर they can save from their enemies. That is called a camouflage. So camouflage, many people or many students get confused between mimicry and camouflage. Camouflage मतलब क्या? खुद के चेंज करना कलर्स में, कलरेशन में ऑफ द स्किन अकॉर्डिंग टू द एनवायरनमेंट. और जो मिमिक्री होती है, मिमिक्री इज दैट अ पर्टिकुलर, जैसे कि बटरफ्लाई, इन बटरफ्लाई द मैमोथ बटरफ्लाई इज देयर, उसकी अगर किसी ने मिमिक्री की सेम बटरफ्लाई स्पीशीज को तो उसको मिमिक्री बोलेंगे. बट कैमोफ्लेज मतलब क्या? एनवायरनमेंट में ब्लेंड हो जाना. ओके, सो मेक श्योर यू आर डू नॉट गेट कंफ्यूज बिटवीन कैमोफ्लेज एंड मिमिक्री. दिस प्रोटेक्टिव कलरेशन इज कॉल्ड अ मिमिक्री. सी, कैमोफ्लेज तो है ही, लेकिन ये प्रोटेक्टिव कलरेशन को क्या बोलते हैं? मिमिक्री बोलते हैं. अगर आप मिमिक्री का एग्जांपल देखोगे तो that is different. Okay, so you may also know that frogs are not seen during the peak summer and the winter. कहाँ जाते हैं peak summer और winter में? ये deep sleep में जाते हैं, right? During this period they take a shelter in a deep burrows to protect them from the extreme heat, so they can't tolerate the extreme heat and the cold. Okay, so this is called a summer sleep estivation and a winter sleep hibernation. So frog is the one who undergo the estivation, that is a summer sleep, and also undergo the hibernation, that is a winter sleep. So in between that, that is a rainy season, right? In the rainy season, much of the lot of the frog we can see everywhere, right? Because they can't tolerate the extreme heat or extreme cold, as they are cold blooded animal. This point is very much clear to you. Let's go further. द स्किन ऑफ द स्मूथ एंड स्लिपरी, जो फ्रॉग रहेगा, अगर गलती से हमने पकड़ा रहेगा फ्रॉग को कभी, तो क्या रहेगा, ये स्किन उसकी क्या रहेगी, स्मूथ एंड द स्लिपरी रहेगी. क्यों स्लिपरी रहेगी? ड्यू टू द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द म्यूकस. In case of earthworm, there is also mucus secretion, right? And C is for locomotion. Here, the skin itself is a slippery, or it can live in a land as well as in water, right? So according to that, the skin is made up of. The skin is always maintained in the moist condition. तो ये moist condition में maintain होनी ही चाहिए, right? So the color of a dorsal side of the body is generally olive green. ये ऊपर का जो color है, that is what, olive green. And with the dark irregular spot, you can place the spots, right? These are the spots. On the ventral side, skin is uniformly pale yellow. So from below, you can say pale yellow. The frog never drinks water but absorbs through the skin. So frog को प्यास नहीं लगती, नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. वो skin में से क्या करता है, water को absorb करता है whenever inside the water. So it do not need to drink a water. Body of a frog is divisible into the head and trunk. So there is no neck. Yeah, there is no neck in case of the frog. Okay, so there is no neck is present. So above the mouth, the pair of a nostril is present. Eyes are bulged. Can you see that? Eyes are very bulged. ऊपर की तरफ आए एंड कवर्ड बाय द निक्टेटिंग मेंबर. तो इसके ऊपर ना आईज के ऊपर एक मेम्ब्रेन रहेगा, राइट? क्योंकि whenever they are into the water, some has to be protection should be there, right? So nictitating membrane that protects while they in water. On either side of the eyes membrane is tympanum. तो ear में क्या रहता है उनका, tympanum रहता है. Can you see that? This is a tympanic membrane. This is a tympanic membrane. Okay. On the either side of the eyes, tympanic membrane, just we have seen, receive the sound signal. The forelimbs and the hind limbs help in a swimming, walking, leaping, and burrowing. The hind limbs and the hind limbs end in a 5 digit, and they are larger in a muscular forelimbs that ends in a 4 digit. Can you see that? Here is a 4 digit one. Here is a 5 digit one. Can you see that? The 5 digit one. Okay. And can you see something very interesting over here is that feet have a web digit that help in a swimming. Can you see that? This is a web like duck. Why? That help in a to swim properly. Frog exhibit a sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism means male and females are quite different. You can morphologically you understand by looking at them. Male is different, female is different. Male frogs can be distinguished by the presence of the sound producing vocal sacs. अगर कोई frog sound produce कर रहा है तो that is a male. And also copulatory pad, जो male होगा उसके पास copulatory pad रहेगा, nuptial pad रहेगा. First digit of the four limbs, four digits का अगर ये first है, that is called a copulatory pad that helps. See, fertilizes is external, but male has to catch the female or मेल को फीमेल को पकड़ के रखना है, राइट? इन दैट केस दिस हेल्प कॉपुलेटरी पैड हेल्प्स इन द पर्टिकुलर that reproduction process. Okay, so that is helpful in that particular process. Even though the fertilization external, but male frog has to be climb on the female, so that during that time copulatory pad is important case. Now, when you talk about the digestive system of the frog, so when you talk about the digestive system of the frog, it consists of the alimentary canal and a digestive glands. The alimentary canal is a short because frogs are carnivorous. So why alimentary canal of the frog is short? Because they are carnivores. Agar in case of grass eating animals, that is herbivorous, the alimentary canal is much more longer as compared to that, because absorption quite different, right? In carnivores direct absorption is can be take place, so that's why they are carnivores, and hence the length of the intestine is reduced. So in case of herbivores, length of intestine is much more complete, and that is from mouth to cochlea. So this is mouth, there is no anus, this is a cochlea. At the end of most of the thing you can say there is anus, but here in case of frog, there is a cochlea. Cochlea is a combination of the reproductive, urinary, okay, and excretory one. So let's see that in further, but you should know what is cochlea. It's a combination of or we can say the common passage for the urinary, for the excretory, and for the reproductive. Now, alimentary canal. The first part is mouth. The mouth opens into the buccal cavity that leads to the esophagus through the pharynx. Now, after that, there comes the esophagus. So, can you see that from here esophagus is there, right? So esophagus is a short due to the absence of neck. There is no neck in case of frog, so there is the absence of neck, that is esophagus is short. If neck is much longer, definitely esophagus is much more. Tube that opens into the stomach. Now in stomach it lies on the left side of the body cavity. कौन सा side होता है? Left side में. Made of the anterior cardiac stomach and posterior pyloric stomach. So there are two types. First cardiac stomach and second is the posterior. Then multicellular gastric gland, that is pepsinogen, is present. Unicellular oxyntic gland, that is SCL. So we have just seen in we have seen this in a human digestion as well, like pepsinogen and what is the function of SCL, right? Now then intestine, longest part of the alimentary canal and divided into the duodenum, ileum and rectum, also known as the large intestine. So intestine that is called as the large intestine. Digestive glands, liver secretes bile that store in the gallbladder. Pancreas, a digestive gland, produces a pancreatic juice containing a digestive enzymes. Okay, can you see that a stomach here, then intestine a larger part, here is the rectum, and that they open into. Can you see that urinary bladder is also joined here, and urine also come from here. Urinary bladder is there, then the X-ray passage is also there, and they open into the cochlea, and then the cochlea further opens into cochlear aperture. Now, when you talk about the digestive system in detail, the frog feeds on the insect. That's why it's called carnivorous, right? That's why it's called carnivore. So first point is clear. Food is captured by the bilobed tongue and swallowed whole. So जो tongue है, that is the bilobed one, okay, and that helps in catching the prey. Digestive or digestion of the food takes place by the action of HCl and gastric juices secreted from the wall of the stomach. Partially digested food called the chyme. In our case also same. Right? Chyme is passed from the stomach to the first part of the intestine and then duodenum. The duodenum receive bile from the gallbladder and pancreatic juice from the pancreas through the common bile duct. Bile emulsify the fat and pancreatic juice digest the carbohydrate and the proteins. फाइनल डाइजेशन टेक्स प्लेस इन द इंटेस्टाइन. तो सबसे फाइनल डाइजेशन कहाँ होता है? इंटेस्टाइन में होता है. Digested food is absorbed by the numerous finger-like folds in the inner wall of intestine called the villi or microvilli for what? Greater absorption. The undigested solid waste moves into the rectum and passes out through the cloaca. So cloaca is a common passage, okay, that we have just studied. Now, respiratory system. The moment we talk about the respiratory system of the frog, we know one thing: by skin, he can absorb the water or a gaseous section. Even it has a lungs. So by skin, when he present in a water, lungs when he present on the land. Okay, so dual respiratory system we can talk about. So frog respire on a land and a water by the two different methods. The first one, in water, skin act as an aquatic respiratory organ. That's called cutaneous respiration. So the moment we heard about cutaneous respiration, that is done or performed by the skin. So that time frog must be, frog कहाँ रहेगा? Water में रहेगा. Dissolved oxygen in the water is exchanged through the skin by the diffusion method. On land, when you talk about the buccal cavity, skin, lungs act as a respiratory organ. तो जब बाहर की तरफ रहेगा, लैंड के ऊपर रहेगा, तो क्या रहेगी? बक्कल कैविटी इज देयर, स्किन इज देयर एंड लंग्स एज वेल, बट स्किन का मेजर पार्ट वाटर में रहेगा. द रेस्पिरेशन लंग्स बाय लंग्स इज कॉल्ड पल्मोनरी रेस्पिरेशन. सो कैन आई से दैट फ्रॉग perform the pulmonary respiration as well as cutaneous respiration? We can talk about that. The lungs are the pair of a elongated pink colored sac like structure. So lung कैसे उसके? Pair of elongated pink colored sac like structure present in the upper part of the trunk region, thorax region. Okay, so can you see here is a nostril, here is the lungs, and you know what? The lungs are not positive or not negative. What we can say, in case of human beings, the lungs pressure is negative. But in case of frog, the lung pressure inside is a positive. That means these lungs are responsible for हवा अंदर की तरफ जाने के लिए इसको एनर्जी खर्च करनी पड़ेगी. ओके, अपने आप हवा नहीं जाएगी अंदर. बट इन केस ऑफ आर ह्यूमंस व्हाट हैपन, the lungs pressure is negative inside, so atmospheric pressure is higher, so it air goes or air will travel through from atmosphere to lungs. But in case of frog, it is the opposite. Okay, so it is a positive in nature, so it needs to spend some energy to capture the or nostril is there. From nostril the air has to be traveled towards the lungs, so energy's expenditure is much more. Air enters through the nostril into the buccal cavity and then to the lungs during estivation and hibernation. What is estivation? Summer sleep. Hibernation is a winter sleep. Gases exchange takes place through the skin, तो moist place में उनको रहना पड़ेगा, right? This point is very much clear to you. So this is a respiratory system by skin, cutaneous, by lungs, pulmonary, and the pressure inside the lung is positive. Now let's move to the blood vascular system of the frog. So when you talk about the first point, okay, where is the first point here? The oxygen poor blood from the body enters the right atrium. तो oxygen poor blood जो है from the body enters the right atrium. Okay, that is the first point. Now, how many chambers you can see? Four chambers? No, actually four chambers are there. Yes. So the pulmonary veins carry oxygen-rich blood from the lungs to the left atrium. A mixture of oxygen-rich oxygen poor blood enters the ventricle. A mixture means it is a three-chamber heart. It's a three-chamber heart, not a four-chamber one. Okay. Then that means oxygenated oxygenated, though both bloods are come into the ventricle. The ventricle pumps blood to the lungs and the body tissues. Okay, so this is the blood vascular system of the frog that we have just studied, right? So it is a three-chamber heart. Now, this is quite in detail, so let's study about and let's pay attention properly. Okay, so can you see that heart structure is, it's a three-chamber one. Okay, it's a three-chamber one. Atria is above, and this is the middle one. So when you talk about this, the vascular system of frog is well developed, close type, involves the heart, blood vessels, and the blood. Frogs have a lymphatic system also, which made up of the lymph channels, and the lymph nodes. Heart is a muscular structure situated in the upper part of the body cavity. It has a three chambers, two atria and one ventricle. Two atria and one ventricle, that's why it's called three chamber, right? It's covered by the membrane called a pericardium. A triangular structure called a sinus venosus. Sinus venosus is very important one, so make sure you highlight that in your notes as well. So sinus venosus join the right atrium. So directly blood is not going into the right atrium. Right atrium में नहीं जा रहा है blood. कहाँ जा रहा है पहले? Sinus venosus में जा रहा है. It receives the blood through the major veins called the vena cava. So vena cava is the one who give what we can say. The deoxygenated blood is carried from all the body parts. It not directly go to the atria. It goes first sinus venosus, and then from sinus venosus it goes to the right atrium. The ventricle open into the sac like conus arteriosus. So ventricles open into what? Sac like conus arteriosus. So sinus venosus before the atria, conus arterius before the ventricle is there. On the ventral side of the heart. तो sinus कौन सा side पे है? ट्रायंगुलर स्ट्रक्चर साइनस वेनोसस कौन सा साइड पे है? एट्रियम के साइड में. और वेंट्रल साइड में वेंट्रिकल्स के पहले कौन आ रहा है? कॉनस आर्टियोरस आ रहा है. दिस पॉइंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. द ब्लड फ्रॉम द हार्ट इज कैरिड टू ऑल पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी बाय द आर्टियल सिस्टम. द वेन्स कलेक्ट ब्लड फ्रॉम द डिफरेंट पार्ट्स ऑफ द बॉडी हार्ट एंड फ्रॉम द वेनस सिस्टम. सो व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट द inferior vena cava, ventricle is there. See, sinus venosus is there before the ventricle, and left atrium, superior vena cava is there. Okay, right auricle is here, pulmonary veins are there. Okay, now spatial venous connection. So what is spatial venous connection? Between the liver and the intestine as well as the kidney and lower part of the body are present in a frog. So spatial venous connection is between liver, intestine and kidney is present. So what they exactly, let's see. The former is called a hepatic portal system. So hepatic portal system is what? Before from the hind limb, see, I can show you this diagram. Okay, so ये जो उसका, okay, let me erase all the things so you can understand better way. Can you see that this is hind limb, which is more muscular? Okay, from here, blood has to go to the heart, but it's not going heart directly. It goes to the another, that is liver, and from liver it goes to the heart. That is called portal system. Okay, that is called the portal system. The heart is not entering directly the sorry, the blood is not directly enter into the heart. It goes another organ. So here, that is hepatic portal system is there, and the letter is called a renal portal system. So hepatic portal system and the letter is called a renal portal system. The blood is composed of the plasma and the cells. The blood cells are RBC, red blood cell, or as I said, WBC cells are there, and leukocytes and platelets are there. Now, RBC are a nucleated. So, in a frog, RBC are nucleated. In a human, nucleus is not there, only transportation work is there. So, nucleus is goes off. But in case of frog, RBC contain the nucleus, oval, biconcave, and contain a red color pigment, namely hemoglobin. Right, same. The lymph is different from the blood. It lacks few proteins and the RBC. The blood carries nutrients, gases, water to the respective site during the circulation. The circulation of the blood is achieved by the pumping action of the muscular heart, right? This is a muscular three-chamber heart is there. So what we have done here, the sinus venosus before the atria, conus arterios before the ventricle. Okay, उसके बाद ये enter करेंगे. Then frog has a hepatic portal system and a renal portal system. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now excretory system. Okay, we about the end of this. Excretory system is what? When you talk about the excretory system, the elimination of nitrogenous waste is carried out by the well-developed excretory system. The excretory system consists of a pair of kidneys, ureter, cloaca, and urinary bladder. Kidneys are compact, dark red, and a bean-like structure situated a little posteriorly in the body cavity on the both side of the vertebral column. Each kidney is composed of the several structure and a functional unit called the uniferous tubules or nephrons. Okay, nephrons are present. Two ureters emerges from the kidney. Two ureter emerges from the kidney in the male frog. The ureter act as a urinogenital duct which opens into the cochlea. Cloaca. Okay, the ureter act as a urinogenital duct. Ureter is called as a urinogenital duct which opens into the cloaca. In female, the ureters and oviduct open separately in a cloaca. So in case of male frog, it act like a urinogenital duct which opens into the cloaca having the ureter, okay, from kidney. It's called breeder's canal. We will talk about that. The sperms enter from there. Okay. In case of male. In case of female, the ureter and oviduct are no connection. They are separately attached. The thin wall urinary bladder is present ventral to the rectum, which is also opens into the cloaca. Cloaca. The frog excretes urea and thus uricodelic animal. Excretory waste are carried by the blood into the kidney where separated and excreted. Can you see that? In case of testes are present, in case of male, that attach to the kidney, and from itself kidney there is a bridal canal. From sperm enters first into kidney and from kidney it goes to the cloaca. Okay, so that is the difference between male frog and female frog. Okay, so here we actually finishes the excretory system of the frog. And in case of reproductive, we just also talk about some important points. Okay, that in case of male